Okay, let's have a chat about another thing that became big news last week, and that is Leon Edwards suddenly being removed from the rankings. Absolutely abysmal call by the UFC, and then maybe it was a few hours or a day later, he's announced to fight Khamzat Chimaev, who was nowhere near the title conversation at 170. I don't know. It feels in a bad move in a multitude of ways here. A bad move for the UFC doing this to Leon, and then a bad move for Leon taking this fight because it basically, I don't know, it just feels like he was holding his ground, standing his ground, and we still need to hear from Leon about this, so he could change my mind. But if he was holding out, he was standing his ground, I fight for the title, or I fight Masvidal, or I fight a top contender to definitely fight for the title, and now it's Chimaev, who hasn't fought anyone of note, and who could come in and completely derail him for all we know. You know, it's very hard to tell because we've only seen Chimaev destroy people. We've never seen him in there with someone of Leon Edwards' quality and caliber. But, I mean, it is the fear of the unknown here for me if I'm Leon Edwards. Like, holy shit. Like, I mean, I'm not even fighting a guy who's near the title conversation at the moment, and everything could go away now. An 8-fight win streak in the blink of an eye for a guy who's been signed to the UFC for less than 6 months.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think if you look at the whole situation and the way it's gone down, it looks like, you know, Leon's hand has been forced here, and it is going to be interesting to see what he has to say in relation to the matter. But, you know, removing him from the rankings, I think, was maybe the biggest
disgraceful
sort of show of the UFC's power towards Leon Edwards, because it's almost as if, you know, this fight's on the table, and if you're not taking this fight, you're getting pulled from the rankings, and, you know, it's basically like, piss off, we don't want you. But that's what Dana more or less sort of implied. Should we play that clip now before we get on and have a little listen to what he has to say?
Absolutely.
What for Leon Edwards?
I don't know. I want to get Leon Edwards a good fight that means something. So we're working on it, you know? Like we were just talking, basically this whole interview. This business does not run the way that it has run the last
You can't
20
keep
years.
saying that. You know, he can't keep saying that, in my opinion. I think it's disrespectful to Leon Edwards. We had the whole situation in London where, you know, as far as we're aware, Leon was pretty badly handled, told to get on a plane in a few hours' notice to fly over and fight Woodley. You know, that's not his problem. That's the UFC's mess up. It was obviously a global pandemic going on. Why should he uproot himself in his camp when a global pandemic has started and make such a swift decision within 2 hours to catch a plane to go to Las Vegas? So I just think the UFC have shown their power here and pretty much given Leon an ultimatum, Petesy. That's what it very much looks like from the outside.
Without a doubt, that's what it is. But who do I favour in that fight? Leon Edwards. I mean, absolutely. Like, and if you go in and you're smashing the golden boy of the UFC at the moment. This guy's sitting beside Dana White throughout the Ortega and Korean Zombie situation. I mean, yeah. Oh, you are a bugger. But you were born in Kildare. Anyway, let's move it on. Leon goes in and he beats Chimaev. Do you think they'll put something in place to say, if you beat this kid who's been untouchable in the UFC so far, you definitely fight for the title? Because that's the only way. Well, I suppose it's hard to say that's the only way you do it if you're Leon Edwards, because they might just, like, you know, remove your contract from the table if you say otherwise at this stage, right?
Yeah, it's Leon Edwards, man, and I think, you know, Leon hasn't fought since July 2019, and he's actively been looking for fights, you know, that would make sense for him, and, you know, I don't know, like, you don't know. I think Chimaev probably has a greater chance of getting the title because of the way the UFC have shown how much they favour him as a personality and as a fighter compared to Leon Edwards, in my opinion. Leon might have to fight another couple of times before the UFC warrant and, you know, potentially give him that title shot, as we've seen. And, you know, I think where Leon sort of falls short there in terms of Dana and the matchmakers looking at him is his you know, his trash talk. And it doesn't weigh up to that of Chimaev's. And they've really got behind him.
I can't believe the UFC want to do this.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy, in my opinion. I think, you know, you'd other options there.
I think if he beats Chimaev, 100% fighting for the title. Because it's the one thing that I guess people are missing for him to make noise in such a big way. Like, I know his performance against Dos Anjos was brilliant. His performance against Cerrone was brilliant. But if I'm not mistaken, they weren't in the US, right? Like, I mean, he fought Cerrone in Singapore or something. I'm not too sure where the Dos Anjos fight fought, but this will be a huge fight. People are going to be genuinely buzzing to see this. Everyone's all over the Chimaev hype train. Oh, this guy's unbelievable. He's the new Khabib. Then Leon goes in and pieces him up like he did with Cerrone. Like, I mean, if this is a main event fight and it goes to the 4th and 5th rounds and Chimaev hasn't been there in a UFC fight, he hasn't been out of the first round. If Leon Edwards takes him to 4 and 5, he has the possibility of looking very bad against an elite fighter who's trained on multiple occasions for 25 minutes. Yeah, and that's crazy to me that the UFC are allowing that to happen.
Oh, no, I totally agree. But I think it just shows you the weight and the stock they have in Chimaev. They actually think, in my opinion, and I think you probably agree with this, looking on, they think Chimaev is going to go in there and handle Leon Edwards in 2 or 3 rounds. That's what I think. Because if you look at the step up from Gerald Meerschaert, and all greatest respect to Gerald, a very, very good, old fighter, been around the block and been around the hill, and it was obviously very, very impressive to do what he did to him. But if you're looking at the difference between him and Leon Edwards, there's a world apart. And I think the UFC, I'd love to see it happen, to be honest with you. I think it's just that sort of, it's almost as if he's going in as a massive underdog already, the way they've sold the narrative and the approach. It's crazy. It really is crazy, in my opinion. And I think it just shows you the disrespect. And I'm going to use that word. I think the UFC have disrespected Leon.
Sharp nod there into the cameras. Like the way he did that.
Of times. And I think,
I'm going to use that word.
A lot of people, and I think the more this build up to this fight goes on, and I think you've even maybe seen it, and obviously with great social media presence and great fame comes a lot of hate, and I think we've seen that a lot with Chimaev as well. There's not a lot of people are getting a bit tired of this already, the brashness, the arrogance, the confidence, and I think Leon could warm himself to a lot of people in the build up to this fight.
You always say these things. I don't know what corner of Twitter you are in, because all I can see is a massive hype train for Chimaev. That's all I can see. Who's getting sick of him? No, I love him. I can't wait to see him fight again.
The smash thing and stuff like that. I think people are going, come on, we've heard this all before. And I think
you're just saying that and you're projecting it on people.
I'm not at all. I've seen it, and I just think Leon's going to go in here and people are going to warm. It's almost like, as his nickname goes, and it shouldn't be this way, but you're just getting the perceived narrative the UFC have created here, that it is like a Rocky story, even though it should be totally the other way around.
Let's get on.
Hello guys, if you want to hear more of The Bash, you can subscribe to us on all our wonderful channels on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and all that other shit.
And click the links below. Click the links below, the notification button. It comes straight to your phone if we've any fresh content, and also hit the subscribe button. It does help. You're some plonker.
It's very serious.